Hey guys, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Today's video, we're going to take a look at something called Parch Linux. What even is Parch Linux? I never heard of this distribution. It's one that was sent to me to be reviewed by a subscriber. So I'm going to take a look at it. We're going to do an install of it, and then we're going to actually do the review of it. I would think that they need to put a little bit more info about their distribution, kind of like what was the concept of it, what's the vision for it, that kind of stuff on the web page, something to tell us a little bit more than Parch Linux is an open source Arch based Linux distribution that tried to be pretty easy to use, light and fast and stable. Give a little fluff as far as like where did the concept come from, what were you trying to take it down the road to be, what's the end result supposed to be like, who's it geared for, what's the, is it a distribution that's mainly for like gaming or multi-use or business minded or creator minded, what is the purpose of the distro, what skill set is it more geared toward development, whatever. But and then you have the download button, then you have the donate button. Now up at the top you have the home, the download, the blog, the wiki, the forum, the privacy, and then of course the team. So that's good. Of course their privacy policy is good. Their forum is waiting for it to load. A standard run-of-the-mill forum, that's very nice. It's polished. It's got a couple of threads started in it already, but for the most part, not a whole lot seems to be going on. Most of them have like one or two comments, and that's about it. So there's that. Then you go to the wiki. Now, this is where I start to have a little bit of issue with it, and it's because I would expect the wiki to open up. But this is a cover page. Once again, same thing that was on the main website. You click on get started, and it takes you to here. Now, I'm trying to not, it's a different kind of wiki than what I think we're all used to. If you go to a wiki, assumingly, especially when it's on Arch, you're going to go to something like this, where you're completely loaded with content right away. At least you can, like on applications, right? When you click on Parch Linux applications, I'm expecting applications to be listed here as to what it comes with. It kind of sets the tone for what your distro is going to be, tone for the distro, so to speak. So, that's kind of important. When you're coming out with a brand new distro, you want to present it in the best possible way with thoroughness, quality, and pride in what you've done. So that is a look at their wiki. Of course, once again, this or their application and their web page. Of course, again, this is some things that I noticed that need to be worked on. Now, what I do feel I should show you a little bit more on is the download section. And so what I've noticed is that when you go to download, be aware that they did not pay a lot of attention to some details. So what happens is like when you go to the Parch GNOME, right, you click on it and it goes to the GitHub. And so when you go to the GitHub page, it goes to your releases here, which limits their amount of releases because I think it's like 2 gigs or less that they can keep on there. Otherwise, you have to go to like SourceForge or whatever. And so I don't know when they do their other installers and their other releases, editions, that's going to add stuff to it. So obviously, they're going to keep minimal installs here. That's going to limit what they can put into their distribution. So it's kind of not a good choice. So you click here and you go to download it and it'll pop up like this. You can save as or whatever, right? Now, not everyone is consistent like this on their downloads. This is what I've noticed. Like KDE will do it right here, right? Unless they fixed it, but XFCE was not doing it. See? XFCE does not do it unless you drop down the assets. The assets is not unfolded. Otherwise, you click on here and it'll take you and it'll reload you where the assets is already unfolded completely. That is how, XFCE comes up. Cinnamon, I do believe, comes up with the assets unfolded. And they're unfolded. So they just got to touch up that one on XFCE. Like I said, small detail, small detail. And that is a look at how you actually can download Parch Linux. All right, and so this is the desktop that you're greeted with. I have installed it on my virtual machine. I have given it 8 gigs of RAM and 6 cores of my processor. And this is what you're greeted with right here when you log in. It's basic vanilla XFCE, I believe, minus a little bit of theming that they put on. So when you look at their, this is their Parch Linux logo here for the Whisker menu. It's got the Whisker menu installed. And then I don't know what theme they're using, but we can take a look at that in a little bit. Go into appearance here. Nordic bluish accent. That's what they're using. That's the theme that they put on here. So there you go. They've got a Dracula theme. They've got a Weta, high contrast, all that. So they've added a couple of themes to it. And so it's got your standard Whisker menu here. Also, you could right click, go here to applications, and you could find your menus as well for applications and stuff like that. Then it's got the system tray over here with the time and date at the bottom. Then that they put the panel over here on the left side for more screen real estate versus doing a panel at the top. And some people actually do a little plank as well at the bottom. This is not their choice. They want to do this. Now, the one other thing that I want to point out is if you're coming here to make your distribution, which you claim boldly to make Arch easy to install, wouldn't you put the installer icon on the desktop along with your welcome menu, or in your welcome menu or your welcome tool that comes in to install it, like some people do? And so that way a user doesn't have to go digging around to find the installer. I mean, that's kind of one of those glaring things that should have taken precedence. In your beta testers, should have caught that as well if you have a beta testing crew. But that's something that you guys should definitely work on. Put the installer icon either on the desktop, since you don't mind putting icons on there. You got the file system on there, or make your welcome tool work and put it in there and have that in the welcome tool to install here. Devs, put the install button on the thing, on the desktop. The install icon. So let's go ahead and install it. So we're going to go ahead and type installer, and it pops right up right here. So we're going to click on it, and they use the color marks, and this looks familiar, like another I can't remember the name of it, but this is another hang on one second. Yeah, it looks like another installer by the name of Parch Linux GUI from a while back that had some issues come up, and so he no longer has a website or anything like that. But it does look a lot like Parch Linux GUI based on this picture, because this is not the default picture color Mars. And also, if you notice, they need to pay a little bit more attention with the title here. Parch Linux installer is off center of the actual window. So just those little aesthetics like that. So let's go ahead and do the install. So we're going to go next. Los Angeles is correct for the time zone that I'm in. English is correct, and the default is correct. And then we're going to erase the whole disk. We're not going to do any swap or ext forward for the sake of this demonstration. We're going to click next, and we're going to create a user. I mean, this is doing what it's supposed to do. Put in a very strong and difficult password to remember. We're not going to log in automatically. We're going to use it as the same as the administrator account. So there we go, because I'm assuming it's going to give Sedur's privileges to my user. And we're going to click install. This is nice. Welcome to Parch Linux. It's a nice background. So when this is done, I will resume. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. It took about 5-10 minutes altogether, so I'm going to click restart now. I did unpause it and pause it through the different flashcards that it gave for installation, so you guys will see that up until this point. The reason why I did that is because they were actually quite nicely done. I thought artistic value, you guys should see it, and two, it gave you some more information on this distro that you didn't have from its documentation or its page. So I'm going to click done, and then it's going to want to reboot, and we're going to let it reboot. When it's done and I get ready to log in, I'll unpause again. And it looks like it's using the Light DM. Yep. It's going to be the XFCE session, which is the only one that you have. So, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in our password. And then, so here we are, logged into our standard right after the fresh boot. So we're going to look for display. And we're going to set it to the 1920 by 1080, which is right where are you? Right here. Boom. We're going to click apply. Of course, we're going to keep this configuration because it looks sexy. And we got this icon that gets stuck in the middle, but who cares? It's probably a virtual machine thing, but anyhow, so they got that. So once again, we're back at this. So now let's see here. For your applications, of course, I got the categories here. So these are your favorites, obviously. The web browser, which is probably going to be a fork of Firefox, as I thought. And which version is it that they're looking at? It's not a fork of, but it is actual Firefox. About Firefox, and it is 1.16. So yes, they are using the latest and greatest. What I'm looking for is like maybe an add or remove software. See if it's easy to use, and it's not. How about software? So let's see, which one of these is settings? This has got to be system, right? So if we go to systems, you got gparted, task manager, btop is installed. So let's see what it's using for resources. Right away, we'll make that full screen so you guys can see it. Maybe add a little depth to it, and we are using very small amount of CPU, and RAM is only like 7%, like 500 megabit, or sorry, 788 megabits, 10%. That's it. Interesting. So we'll close out of that. And let's see, how do we if there, or do you have to use applications, mouse pad? See, this has all got the vanilla. Oh, it's got Vim installed. XF Burn. These are all the vanilla applications for Rosetta viewers under graphics. Under internet, you've got Firefox and LFTP. You've got Parole, Pavu, yeah, all the standard vanilla XFCE applications for the default apps. So for your desktop. So I guess in this instance, to do applications, from what I understand, there is no application finder on here for them. Yeah. So you got to basically open up the terminal, which would be right here. And then you'd have to do sudo pacman-sy and then application name. Let me make that bigger for you. And add a little bit more. So you can actually read it. SY and then application name. So for like do an application that's there, let's say OBS. Of course, I know what I'm doing. Give it your root password, and then you start. It's probably going to do the database. You got to update the databases, so it should do it every time, and then it should download it. Technically, you should, instead of this, when this is done, which I'll get it to stop doing it in a minute, I'll cancel out of the installation. Oh, OBS was error failed retrieving file core DB from mirror. Could not resolve host. Oh, so there's an error right there. So couldn't find OBS. It also claims to be pure 100 open source applications on here. So maybe they have enabled that so you can't do that. So if you want to do an update, though, this is the first thing you should do. It's the same thing. You hit arrow up, and then you go here, and then you type in the Arch ecosystem SYYU, and that updates all of your packages that are installed. I'm not going to do that, but anyhow, that is a brief look at how you would install applications on here until they do that. I'm sure, do they have Flatpak? So you should be able to do Flatpak for some of your stuff. Let's make this big. Let's open this up again, add a little bit more. So Flatpak install OBS. Flatpak is not installed, so they don't have Flatpak installed. So there you go. So you can't even do that. They should at least enable that if you're going to be pure open source for your repositories and only curate open source applications for that. People are going to want to use other things. They may not hold the whole open source theory that you do. So unless you're telling them to go find another distro, you might want to include that. Or app images, one of the two. Basically vanilla. I mean, we've already gone through all the different applications. I mean, they don't even have VLC installed here, which is, Parole's a good player. It works fine. That is a look at Parch Linux. Now, as I have said, it is not one of those distributions that I would really call ready yet. It actually needs a little bit more work done to it. You're there. Developers understand, do not give up, do not quit. You're there. It's another fork of Arch, so expect that. But I mean, you've got theming, and you've got, one of the other things that I did see when I was looking for the installer to find out if there was hold on, is this. So let's go to file system. When I looked at the wallpapers, for the thing that comes up there in the XFCE folder, as you can see here, right? XFCE. So they left the vanilla XFCE wallpapers. But if you go down to user, you go down to share, you go down to wallpapers, which is another place that most distros hide their wallpapers at. And it looks like they got Wayland and Wayland protocols installed, but I didn't see it at Wayland session to log into. So, but anyhow, so if you click on that, they have ParchOS wallpapers in here. And this is what they look like. Why wouldn't they include these wallpapers in the original folder right here? See, they got backgrounds, which has nothing. And you could add it if you wanted to, but I'm just saying, if you're going to do this and you want to brand it and you're looking for your branding and you have actually made your branding and you branded a wallpaper, wouldn't you put that in your distro right out the box? And that's the default wallpaper that stuff goes to? Either way, that is a look at Parch Linux. They have some stuff that they've apparently got to work on. Don't give up. Keep doing what you're doing. I mean, keep on Linuxing. Stay blessed. And above all, I'll see you in the next review.